Hey, so did any of you pay attention in school? What you think about most comes to you. When you were a little kid and you were in the car thinking about how you wanted a toy, you got the toy. Now just think about the rest of your life. About how bad you wanted something and how you would do anything to get it. But as we're brought up, despite all this, we're taught that no matter what we get, someday we're going to die. Well, what if you're a kid and you say, I really don't want to die. I don't think I'll ever die. I really don't want to see death. Maybe that'll happen. Isn't eternal life promised in almost every text of people who have seen the death of the underworld, whatever you want to call religion? I'll rephrase this for you guys. I'm illuminated, right? My professional name. You know, I study astrology, numbers, planets, people's eyes, light, shadows, energy, words, past and future, and what's going on in the present. Now, based upon all these things and also a third gifts from your DNA, not sounding all arrogant, but I actually do know these things, and as do you. You guys suck at using it. You guys don't know how to live. You don't know what numbers are for. You don't know what myths and stories are for. And you obviously don't know what a metaphor is. So you'd rather just sit on your Call of Duty and your Barbie world and not think about the people who actually make sense because they make you want to think. So, you know when you're like a kid growing up and what you want most you always get. No matter if you ask for it or if you don't ask for it, for the most part, you're still going to get it. Whether it be an ass whooping or a toy. Well, what if what you don't want is what you get, and what you get is what you don't want? Death does not exist. When you grow up with death all around you, seeing somebody die and come back to life dozens of times, you start to believe that, well, maybe there is no death and eternal life really is possible. Maybe we just see things as catastrophes when they're acts of, it was the time, but then they're still alive. Anything from a car accident being saved, to a suicide being saved, to a whatever tragedy being saved, or to somebody just deciding to live, and don't pull that plug. These things all relate to right now. People claim they see ghosts. In ghost movies, ghosts are people. Have you seen American Horror Story lately? About how there's the living and the dead exist in the same house in the first season. In the second season, everyone is portrayed as crazy, but the first characters from the living and dead are still there. And at the end of that season, the supposed things they were accused of actually happens. Maybe because somebody told them they were crazy in the first place, and the crazy person in that whole second season was the doctor in the first place. AKA also the nun, too. Which leads to the next third season, where everybody's a witch. And women need to know their place. There's been a huge shift in the comprehension of someone being sick in the head just because they're not understood, and someone not being understood and being feared because of it. There needs to be an alliance. Do you see, if you still see the correlation, it's the living and the dead the dead contained in an asylum, and then a haven or a coven for the living who know about the dead to enhance their powers. But enhance their powers for what? Maybe to bring light and liberation upon the fact that people are alive and dead at the same time. You can be a walking zombie. You can be living just because you're taking one medication and that's the only thing keeping you alive. I can't take that or else I'll die. Well, guess what? That means you're already dead. There's no point to this. We are eternal. All this pain is an illusion. Pain's an illusion because the next day you won't feel it. And the only thing opposite from death is life. Life versus death. I mean, I'm pretty sure the dead do live amongst the living, and the living do live amongst the dead. There has to be a government for a reason. Native Americans had to have claimed this American land for a reason, knowing that it's very important to honor the ancestors who have passed, because they know they are not really past. They could have passed in different times. There's also another religion, another taboo thing, and a Thailand or something of similar descent in the mind of the facial shape, where they take the dead ones, and bury them and then walk them to their graves. Well, they walk them to their graves after they're dead, rather. So, it's like saying, hey, yo, you're dead, now you gotta lay in the ground and sleep for a long time. People don't really die. You know, you find them dead, and you're not supposed to touch their bodies for 3 days, and they come right back to life. It's a part of the ventricle in the heart. Part of the ventricle in the heart that recollects all the memories and brings that person back into life. And if there are no eyewitnesses to see it, that person won't even be dead. That's why cameras witness these things. Right behind my camera is a mirror. So I'm witnessing my own witness. Do you understand what I'm saying? Some of you will. Life insurance is only there to make sure that you die. And life in itself isn't worth being brought into in this dimension or this world of this time just to be living here forever. Because it's the age of Aquarius now, officially. And nobody can go back. Nobody can go back. They can go back while moving forward, but they're still stuck in the same industrial times of evolution. And practicality, command and control. It's not that simple. It's not that simple as writing a prompt on a chat room. It's more like, or programming, like on MLK Day, the new programmers. It's more along the lines of altars, pedestals, feng shui, and knowing that your computer is yours and you control it, no matter what's on the other side of that stupid screen that I love so much. But love, that's not what I love. It's hard to have a conversation with somebody when they're having a conversation with somebody else, and that somebody else thinks that they're actually there with you hanging out. And that's usually because there's nothing in it for them. But what's in it for the technology? The technology being used and alive? So think who the real enemy is. The living and the dead mixing, or the fact that people don't understand things, and no matter how much money somebody makes, whatever percent you are, you're still going to be alive forever, and you're still going to die in the eyes of others. And then when you're in the newspaper and you're dead, then you're officially dead. Remember that obituary rap on, I'm pretty sure it was one of the Comedy Central shows. One of the newer ones. I won't name names because they might not die, but it was pretty funny. They were called obituaries. Hallucinations of seeing somebody going to your own funeral while you're at school. Going into a treatment center after you've felt like you've lost your mind. Nobody's seeing you, being allowed to see you unless they know a number. Just as though Conor Oberst said, we must memorize 9 numbers and deny we have a soul. But guess what? To not have a soul is to be truly liberated. Because that soul can be anything you want it to be. All throughout time. All I have to say about that, no matter what you believe in, is if you remember this one song, I have no idea the names of it, but it just exemplifies from the 90s and talks about the one thing: don't forget to wear sunscreen. Just like the witches with the umbrellas, ghosts with the sheets, dead people with the sheets. There is no such thing as overpopulation. It's kind of like genetic mutation. Now go look at the Egyptians and start from there. Good luck if you read my mind. Samsung hooked up to an LG adapter. Life's good, Samsung. Yo, I speak English, non-English, and Ebonics. You wanna know where I'm from? You never knew.